Okay, so today for you guys, I got the J-link made by Segger. Now this J-link lets me do JTAG, SPI, SWO, a couple other things, but I'm just interested in the JTAG connection here because we have an open JTAG port on these instrument clusters. So as you've seen in one of my previous videos, this is actually the cluster from the previous video with the failing main IC. Now, in this video, I will not be repairing this yet. What this is proof of concept. I'm going to prove to you that it can be done, that this processor can be replaced with a blank one, and that we can program it. And we'll be using this nice JTAG connection that GM was kind enough to leave for us on here. So I pulled up the data sheet for this one. It's like I think it was, yeah, 41 pages long, and there's a bunch of extra data sheets to go along with it. But this one is not actually for this exact chip. So what we're dealing with on here is an ST30F772 Alpha, and this one was for the ST30F772LV, but they're about the same. So we have they're the same memory and all of that on there. So what we have here is page 19, which page 19 goes into the dedicated JTAG interface pins. So um, to hook up our J-link, which this one is the J-link EDU series. Main thing to consider with the EDU series is you can't use every piece of J-link software with it. It's just not licensed for it. This is for you and I to learn how to do this stuff with. It's $88, I think, is what I spent to get the EDU version. I think you're looking at close to 200 or 300 for the Pro series. If you're trying to do this as a business, I'd go with the Pro series. This is just a hobby for me. I'm just trying to learn, so I went with the EDU. But back on track here. So on the data sheet, it shows us that so of the microcontroller itself, is 91, 90, 89, 88, and 87 are dedicated JTAG pins. And then if you get under the microscope, look at them and trace them, they go to T9 through 13. So to hook up our Segger, what we need to do is first give it the 5-volt reference, which I believe was pin 1, and then you need to give it ground, which is pretty much any of the bottom row of pins on there. I got it right there, which I believe would be pin 4 or 2. Yeah, pin 4. That's pin 4. That's how I set it up on there. But and reference went to pin 1. So then you're going to go data output. Basically, it goes backwards. So to read it easier, I'm actually going to go over here. So circuit reset is pin 3 of the Segger, which is TP13 on the board here. And then the data in is pin 5 of the J-link, which is TP12 of the board. Then mode select is 7, which is TP11. And then clock is 9, which is TP10. And then test data output is 13, which is TP9. I just read them off because I know I have really bad penmanship, probably hard for y'all to read. So those are the dedicated pins for JTAG. I'm going to go ahead and hook this up, and I'm going to switch to the other screen there so that way y'all can see what goes on there. So we're not fixing this one. We're going to just switch the flash data. So right now this one has the flash data on it for a 4 pin, because I already did a test run beforehand. It's got it for a 4 gauge cluster that has the PR and D 123 on there for a gas, and this is a diesel. So we're going to put the diesel flash back on it and verify that it works. So let me switch to the other screen and we'll do that now. But yeah, so J-link flash, now it's it's not meant for production purposes. It gives you a little warning there. So here is the chipset that I'm using for it. I have it pulled up over here too. So using the STR735FZ2. I know that is not the processor that's on there because again, we're dealing with the ST30F772 Alpha. So definitely a different processor than this one, or well, microcontroller. But this microcontroller was the closest thing that Segger supports to that one. So this one uses the same core, uses an ARM7 TDMI, so it probably will uh, respond to the same opcodes and everything. It had the same size RAM as the other chip, and it had the same size flash memory. So I figured this would be a good starting point. So this chip should respond in the same way. The board has a 4 megahertz crystal, so have this set to 4 megahertz. So let's go ahead and set up J Flash Lite in the same manner. So we're using this. We're not going to be using SWD. We're going to be using JTAG. So switch it to JTAG. Got it at the right speed. Go ahead and go OK. All right. So now we got to load our bin file that we want to upload. I want to upload the original one back to it. And then we're just going to go ahead and it's going to the first address, which we look over here, base address that. So, yep, going to the right one. Let's go ahead and, well, I need to heat up this chip because this is the faulty board. So let me give it a little heat here. Okay, I heated up the chip a little bit there. And let's go ahead and give it some power. So we got to power it up first. And maybe I gave it enough. Let's see. It's program device. No, I don't want to update at the moment. See if it connects to it. Yep, so now it's going to compare. They're different. So now it's erasing the chip, programming the chip with the new data, and then it verifies. It says error, could not download file. Okay, let's give it a little more heat. Yeah, because it dropped down to the 2. Let's heat this chip up some more. Again, we're only heating this one up because we are currently using a faulty, the chip's faulty. This is one of the ones that are failing that needs heat to run. So, looks like we had a successful write on there. So, that first time we had an error, it did. I looked over at my power supply and I saw that it had dropped to where it was only pulling like point it was pulling 100 milliamps, so I knew that the processor had just quit working altogether. Gave it a little heat, was able to put the flash on there. So now let's switch back to the camera so you can see that this is an operational one. But let me first go ahead and show you. So this was the dump that was on it. Let's go ahead and target um, manual program. We're going to read back, and we're going to read back the entire chip. No, I'm not going to update my firmware. And we were successfully able to read all of the memory. And there we go. You can compare that we now have successfully put that flash. It's different. So these are 2 different bin files that are on there. This is what was on it. This is what I just flashed onto it. So let's switch over to the other camera so that way you can see that this was a successful write to this, and that we can all be super grateful to GM for leaving us this JTAG connection on here to manipulate this chip with. So let me go ahead and switch over to the other camera. Okay, so now you can see that we now have a working uh, board again. Sorry, had a brain fart there. Yep, it's back up and running. We'll give it a minute to cool back down, and yep, there we go. Now that's cooled down, we're going back to the problem we were having, where it starts, it goes in and out, and then once it cools down completely, it'll just completely shut off on us. So this processor, still a failing processor, but I'm able to get a good read off of its flash memory, and I'm able to flash back and forth. Totally comfortable bricking this one. That's why I used it as my test subject for this. So, and yep, as it gets cooler and cooler, it flashes faster and faster, and then it just goes out. So yep, now we're dead. So it cooled off enough. Yeah, cool to the touch. It just quit running on me. So that's just what these failing microcontrollers do on here, which is why we needed to figure out how to fix this. So we got to thank GM for leaving us this open JTAG connection here to hook up to. I mean, this is actually makes this a relatively easy repair. Now we just got to see if we can source these processors. But this is proof of concept. This can be done. These can be repaired. So super excited about this. You know, this was worth the $80. Hey, even the waiting a month on this piece of junk to get here, it not working, getting frustrated with it, paying the $80 to get the real thing, getting it, and getting this done, completely worth it to me. I mean, this is awesome. I think it's pretty cool that you're able to get in there on that, go JTAG into it, pull the data off of it, and manipulate it. Maybe in a future video, I'll try running one of these bins through bin walk and see if there's any other useful information. I will quickly show you this, which was why I was comfortable with the dumps I'm getting off of them. Is see we have, oh, you can't see it. Let me switch the camera over. Okay, so this is what made me comfortable with the bins that I was dumping off of there. So you first just looking at it and go, okay, yeah, this is just all in hex, and you go, oh, look at this, all of this stuff in plain text. A lot of this was in plain text, and when I saw that it was plain text and it wasn't all jumbled up, I knew that I had a good dump. So yeah, it's just all the different messages that come across the screen going on here. Some of the, but not everything's going to be in plain text, so we could run this through binwalk and see if it can recognize any of this, but that's something for a future date. And maybe I won't mess with it, who knows. I just thought it was kind of interesting. They're pretty large dumps on here, and it's maybe an assembler, who knows. I'm just not an expert in this kind of stuff, but it's got more messages in here. So, yeah, that's why I was comfortable with it, and all of them end the same way with 7FAA5503. Let's see, this one should end the exact same way. Yep, 7FAA5503. So that must be just indicating, like, this is the end. But I don't know. We'll find out more later. But yeah, super happy with how this came out. Now I just need to source some of these processors and see what I can do from there. So hopefully y'all like this. I really hope you like this. Please give me a thumbs up on this one. And if you want to see more and see an actual like repaired one of these after I get some of these processors, you really might want to consider hitting that subscribe button. Share this with your friends that may want to learn how to do more of this work. I know JTAG's kind of scary. This is definitely getting into engineering territory. I was way in over my head on this, but I was able to figure it out, and I'm not the brightest light. So if I can figure this out, you can figure it out too. This is pretty cool stuff right here. Maybe I'll be able to do this JTAG connection to these older ones here. I have not been able to find a schematic for this. If anybody has, not a schematic, sorry, a data sheet. If anybody has a data sheet for this, I would love to have the data sheet to this, because it does not have anything staring at us telling us, hey, I'm a JTAG connection like this. That was pretty obvious. It was a JTAG connection. You have, 5 open pins that nothing's going to. I mean, that's going to be JTAG. So, yeah, that was pretty obvious that was JTAG. This one, nothing stares out as JTAG, but most of these kind of processors have a dedicated JTAG on them. So, yeah, if anybody has the data sheet for this, I would be very happy to see it. So that way I could try to do this kind of stuff to it. But until next time, just go ahead and give us a thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next video.